today as we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable values that ordinary-looking change can sometimes hold. And in today's video we are going to talk about one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern numismatics, the incredible story of the 1992 1-cent coin that has been reported to be worth as much as $149 million because of its unique combination of errors, mistakes, variations, and the sheer rarity that makes collectors go wild. And while to the untrained eye this coin might look like any other penny from the early 1990s, the truth is that the 1992 1-cent carries within it a series of mysteries and minting blunders that push its value into the stratosphere. So let's imagine holding in your hand what appears to be a simple copper-plated zinc coin, the type produced by the US Mint during that period after the transition from mostly copper cents, and yet upon closer inspection under magnification, this coin reveals layers of minting oddities that together elevate it from pocket change to a multi-million-dollar prize. And that's what makes this coin such an engaging subject for collectors, historians, and investors alike, because it embodies the idea that small mistakes can lead to massive value in the numismatic world. Now when we talk about the 1992 1-cent, the first and most talked about error is the famous close AM variety, a die error where the spacing between the A and M in the word America on the reverse is unusually tight compared to the standard design of that year. This variation alone is highly sought after by collectors because it was not intentional. It occurred due to the use of a proof die on circulation strikes, which led to a very limited number escaping into the wild. But in the case of the specific 1992 1-cent we are discussing, the situation goes even further, because not only does it exhibit the close AM variety, it also contains doubling on the obverse where Lincoln's profile shows clear signs of a doubled die strike, particularly noticeable in the details of his eye, and the lettering of liberty and the motto "I in God we trust," creating a dramatic visual that immediately signals this coin is far from ordinary. And then there's the off-center strike where the coin was misaligned during the minting process, leaving part of the rim thin and some design elements missing, a mistake that often increases desirability because it highlights the mechanical imperfections of coin production. Combine that with planchette flaws where the copper plating bubbles in places or reveals underlying zinc, and suddenly you've got a coin that is not just one error but a whole cocktail of them. A numismatic jackpot that blends several of the most collectible error types into one example. Now let's imagine the possibilities that make such a coin worth $149 million, because in reality while many close AM cents sell for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, the true astronomical value comes when multiple rare features align in one unique specimen, when provenance, condition, rarity, and collector frenzy collide. And this coin is believed to be a one-of-a-kind piece with the close AM reverse, double die obverse, off-center strike, and planchette flaws all existing together in a single penny, a scenario so rare that it pushes the imagination of collectors and investors alike. Now think about the minting process in 1992, with millions of coins being struck every day at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The odds of such a collection of errors happening simultaneously and then surviving in pristine condition without being damaged, circulated heavily, or melted down is virtually astronomical. Yet somehow this 1-cent slipped through, avoided detection, ended up in the hands of a sharp-eyed collector who recognized its potential, and over time became one of the most talked about rarities in coin collecting circles. And while some might say, how can a penny really be worth $149 million? The answer lies in the world of high-end collectibles, where rarity, desirability, and the prestige of owning something unique drives values beyond what seems reasonable. Just as we've seen paintings sell for millions or rare diamonds fetch staggering sums, a coin like this realm of ultimate rarity, it's not just metal, history, charm, perfection through imperfection, all wrapped into one. And that's why auction houses, private collectors, compete affinities to secure items. Let's talk specifics of each elemental story. This AM error itself is fascinating because in 1992 the correct business strike reverse should have had a wider spacing between A and M, yet somehow proof dies with the close AM spacing got mixed in, creating a tiny handful of circulation strikes that shouldn't exist. These are among the most coveted modern rarities. Then layer in the double die, which is a product of the die itself being improperly prepared, showing that slight but significant shift in the lettering and portrait details, a mistake that usually gets caught early but occasionally slips through, giving collectors a dramatic visual reminder of human error in a mix. Add to that an off-center strike that wasn't properly aligned with leaving uneven border lines so appealing, and finally imagine bubbles and cracks in the thin copper plating revealing the zinc core beneath, something that occurred fairly often with zinc scents, but really in such dramatic conjunction with all these other anomalies. So here we have a perfect storm of minting mistakes, and that's why people place such enormous value on it. But beyond the technical details, what really makes the 1992 1-cent legendary is the mythology and excitement it has built up among collectors. Stories circulate of people finding examples in pocket change, of dealers stumbling across them in rolls, of sharp-eyed numismatists paying pennies for something later valued in the millions. And this kind of folklore fuels the hunt, making every 1992 penny in circulation a potential lottery ticket in the eyes of enthusiasts. And while not every 1992 penny is going to be worth more than face value, the chance, however slim, that one could find this rarest of the rare keeps people searching, keeps people hopeful, and keeps the legend alive. Now if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the 1992 1-cent valued at $149 million is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of how small accidents can create massive significance. How something as humble as a 1-cent piece can transcend its intended purpose and become an artifact of immense cultural and financial value. And it reminds us that treasures can be hiding in plain sight. That's sometimes the extraordinary is disguised as the ordinary, and that curiosity and attention to detail can unlock unimaginable rewards. And that's why collectors love stories like this, because they represent not just the physical object, but the dream of discovery, the thrill of the hunt, and the possibility of turning pocket change into a fortune. And when we consider that this coin is said to be worth $149 million, it also reflects the way markets for collectibles can operate, with value driven by rarity, condition, provenance, and demand. intrinsic materials. After all, the coin is still just copper-plated zinc, worth less than a cent in metal. Yet, because of its unique story, it becomes priceless in the eyes of those who desire it. So as we explore further the mystique of this 1992 penny, we should also reflect on the broader history of the Lincoln cent, a design that has endured for more than a century, with countless variations, errors, and collectible types along the way. And in that long history, this particular coin stands out as one of the crown jewels, a testament to how even modern coins can achieve legendary status. Now, as we wrap our minds around all the different layers of this story, it's worth noting that the sheer length and depth of this narrative mirrors the fascination collectors feel, because once you start down the path of coin collecting, every detail, every mint mark, every small deviation becomes a story in itself, and the 1992 1 cent valued at $149 million is like the ultimate chapter in that saga, inspiring generations of collectors to keep looking, keep learning, and keep dreaming. And so when you think about your own pocket change, the pennies rattling around in drawers or jars at home, remember that one of them could hold a secret. One of them could be the key to a life-changing discovery. And even if it's not the $149 million penny, it might still be worth far more than you expect, because the world of numismatics is full of surprises, full of hidden gems, and full of stories just waiting to be uncovered. So keep your eyes open, keep your mind curious, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next one to stumble across a treasure hide. Next 1987 1 cent USA coin. Today, as we take a journey into the incredible world of coin collecting and hidden treasures, where the smallest and most ordinary looking pieces of change can hold values so staggering that they can change lives forever. And today's discussion will leave you amazed, because we are diving into the story of the 1987 1 cent coin, a Lincoln penny that might appear common and insignificant at first glance, yet because of its astonishing minting errors, striking mistakes, and the rare possibilities tied to its production, this particular coin has been valued at an unbelievable $65 million, making it one of the most fascinating and mysterious modern rarities in the history of American coinage. And as you hear about its details, you will understand why so many collectors and investors are captivated by the hunt for coins like this, because while the United States Mint struck billions of pennies in 1987, the existence of a single or handful of examples that escaped with extraordinary errors transforms what is otherwise just a zinc-based coin plated in copper into a priceless artifact. So let's begin by imagining holding in your palm a 1987 penny, dull and ordinary to most eyes, yet when examined closely under proper lighting and magnification, it reveals layers of imperfections that separate it from the mass-produced billions of its kind. And it is this combination of errors, some visible to the naked eye and others only clear upon detailed study, that makes this particular 1987 1 cent so unique and so valuable, because collectors know that the rarest finds come when multiple types of minting mistakes overlap, which is exactly the case here. Now let us explore the primary errors, starting with the double die obverse, which is one of the most thrilling kinds of mistakes that can appear on a coin, where the die used to strike the coin was improperly hubbed, creating a doubled image on the obverse side where Abraham Lincoln's profile resides, and on. This legendary 1987 cent, the doubling can be clearly seen in the details of Lincoln's eye, the shape of his lips, the contours of his bow tie, and even in the bold lettering of liberty and I and God we trust, making it immediately distinguishable to trained collectors and unmistakably rare. But the doubling alone would not propel this coin to 65 million. It is the combination of further flaws that build its legend, such as the reverse design, which shows an abnormality in the spacing of the letters in the United States of America and 1 cent, with some letters appearing compressed and others slightly stretched, a clear sign of die deterioration or misalignment during the striking process. Then we find the mint mark anomaly, with reports that on some specimens the D-mint mark, indicating Denver production, appears repunched or misaligned, a type of error known as an RPM or repunched mint mark, which is always a favorite among error collectors and adds significantly to value. And beyond that, there are examples showing broad strikes where the coin was not held securely in the collar during striking, resulting in a slightly expanded shape with missing or incomplete rims. An error that alone makes coins desirable, but when combined with doubling and mint mark oddities, creates a once-in-a-lifetime piece. But the story does not end there, because this coin also displays planchet flaws, the imperfections caused by the transition era when pennies were made of copper-plated zinc. Rather than solid copper and bubbles, cracks, or even exposed zinc show up on certain areas of the 1987 coin, making it not only rare but also a dramatic display of the manufacturing issues of the era, with some collectors even reporting die cracks stretching across Lincoln's portrait or through the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. A striking visual of mint machinery flaws. Now, when you think about all these anomalies together, it becomes clear why this penny skyrockets in value. Because rarity in coin collecting is not simply about how many were made, but about how many escaped the mint with mistakes and survived long enough to be discovered in collectible condition. And the 1987 penny we are discussing is believed to be one of the rarest combinations of errors ever seen on a Lincoln cent. A coin that slipped past the mint's quality control systems and into circulation, only to later be recognized for what it truly is, a multi-era masterpiece. And while skeptics might wonder how a 1-cent coin could be worth $65 million, the answer lies in the world of high-end numismatics, where rarity, desirability, provenance, and condition converge to create staggering values. Much like the art world, where a painting sells for hundreds of millions, or the gemstone market, where a rare diamond can set records. In coin collecting, the same phenomenon applies, because the value is not in the metal content, but in the story, the history, and the sheer impossibility of duplication. And this coin represents a perfect storm of uniqueness. Now let's dig deeper into the minting process of the late 1980s to appreciate just how such errors could occur. In 1987, the US Mint was producing billions of coins annually with increasingly automated machinery. But even with technology, human oversight, and protocols, mistakes were bound to happen. And in rare cases, those mistakes aligned in such a way as to produce legendary coins like this one, the double die. Likely resulted from a misaligned hub during die creation. The repunched mint mark, a result of manual mint mark application practices still in use during the era. The broad strike from a failure of the collar to hold the planchette. The planchette flaws due to plating inconsistencies in the zinc core cents, and die cracks emerging from the stresses of striking billions of coins. Each factor alone could make for a collectible, but altogether they form a coin so unique that it becomes priceless. And that is exactly why collectors believe this 1987 cent deserves its staggering $65 million valuation. But beyond the technical details, there is also the cultural mythos surrounding it, because stories circulated of ordinary people finding 1987 pennies in pocket change and checking them closely just in case, because the possibility that one of these rare error coins could appear in circulation ignites imagination, and that thrill of the hunt is well as the numismatic hobby, where every coin jar, every roll of pennies, every drawer of forgotten change could be hiding a treasure, and the allure of such possibilities makes the legend of the 1987 penny even stronger. And as collectors tell these stories, the demand for examples grows, and with demand comes astronomical prices, with private collectors, investors, and museums competing to secure ownership of what is arguably one of the most unique pennies in history. And if we think about condition, we must also acknowledge that the value is enhanced dramatically when the coin is preserved in mint state condition, with no wear, crisp luster, and sharp details, because high-grade coins with multiple errors are exponentially rarer than circulated examples, and this is exactly why such a coin can reach tens of millions in value, because it is not only about the presence of errors, but about the perfect preservation of them. And this transforms the coin from being a mistake of production into being a once in a lifetime artifact, a jewel in the crown of numismatics. And when collectors hold such a coin, they are holding a tangible piece of history, a reminder of how chance, error, and survival all align to create something extraordinary. And that sense of owning the impossible drives the market to pay prices that outsiders might find hard to believe, but within the hobby are seen as justified for the privilege of holding such uniqueness. And when we reflect on the broader history of the Lincoln cent, which has been in production for more than a century since 1909, we can see that countless varieties and errors have appeared, from double dies in 1955 to transitional errors in 1982 to famous misstrikes across decades. But within that history, the 1987 penny with its overlapping errors stands apart, not because of its age, but because of its perfect storm of mistakes, making it comparable in prestige to the greatest rarities ever struck by the mint. And so as we continue to explore these stories, remember that value in coin collecting is not determined by size or denomination, but by rarity, story, and desire. And the 1987 1-cent value at $65 million embodies all of that perfectly, showing us that even the humblest coin can rise to unimaginable heights. And so when you check your own change, when you see a penny dated 1987, take a moment to look closer, because who knows? You might just be holding a fortune, and even if you don't have the 65 million dollar penny, the thrill of the hunt, the possibility of discovery, and the appreciation of history makes every step of the journey worthwhile. And this is why collectors continue to search. Next, 1992 1-cent USA coin. Today, as we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable values that ordinary-looking change can sometimes hold. And in today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern numismatics, the incredible story of the 1992 1-cent coin that has been reported to be worth as much as $149 million because of its unique combination of errors, mistakes, variations, and the sheer rarity that makes collectors go wild. And while to the untrained eye this coin might look like any other penny from the early 1990s, the truth is that the 1992 1-cent carries within it a series of mysteries and minting blunders that push its value into the stratosphere. So let's imagine holding in your hand what appears to be a simple copper-plated zinc coin, the type produced by the US Mint during that period after the transition from mostly copper cents, and yet upon closer inspection under magnification, this coin reveals layers of minting oddities that together elevate it from pocket change to a multi-million-dollar prize. And that's what makes this coin such an engaging subject for collectors, historians, and investors alike, because it embodies the idea that small mistakes can lead to massive value in the numismatic world. Now, when we talk about the 1992 1-cent, the first and most talked about error is the famous close AM variety, a die error where the spacing between the A and M in the word America on the reverse is unusually tight compared to the standard design of that year. This variation alone is highly sought after by collectors because it was not intentional. It occurred due to the use of a proof die on circulation strikes, which led to a very limited number escaping into the wild. But in the case of the specific 1992 1-cent we are discussing, the situation goes even further, because not only does it exhibit the close AM variety, it also contains doubling on the obverse where Lincoln's profile shows clear signs of a double die strike, particularly noticeable in the details of his eye, and the lettering of liberty and the motto, "I in God we trust," creating a dramatic visual that immediately signals this coin is far from ordinary. And then there's the off-center strike, where the coin was misaligned during the minting process, leaving part of the rim thin and some design elements missing. A mistake that often increases desirability because it highlights the mechanical imperfections of coin production. Combine that with planchet flaws where the copper plating bubbles in places or reveals underlying zinc, and suddenly you've got a coin that is not just one error but a whole cocktail of them. A numismatic jackpot that blends several of the most collectible error types into one example. Now let's imagine the possibilities that make such a coin worth $149 million. Because in reality, while many close AM cents sell for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, the true astronomical value comes when multiple rare features align in one unique specimen. When provenance, condition, rarity, and collective frenzy collide. And this coin is believed to be a one-of-a-kind piece with the close AM reverse, double die obverse, off-center strike, and planchet flaws all existing together in a single penny. A scenario so rare that it pushes the imagination of collectors and investors alike. Now think about the minting process in 1992, with millions of coins being struck every day at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The odds of such a collection of errors happening simultaneously and surviving in pristine condition without being damaged, circulated heavily, or melted down is virtually astronomical. Yet somehow this 1 cent slipped through, avoided detection, ended up in the hands of a sharp-eyed collector who recognized its potential, and over time became one of the most talked about rarities in coin collecting circles. And while some might say, how can a penny really be worth $149 million? The answer lies in the world of high-end collectibles, where rarity, desirability, and the prestige of owning something unique drives values beyond what seems reasonable. Just as we've seen paintings sell for hundreds of millions, or rare diamonds fetch staggering sums, a coin like this occupies that same realm of ultimate rarity. It's not just metal, it's history, chance, and perfection through imperfection, all wrapped into one. And that's why auction houses, private collectors,